they're showing promise, and there's no room in the inn. It's a musical chairs game, and so to get them on a practice squad, first you have to put them on waivers, and I can't imagine those guys not getting claimed.
I have a hard time thinking that as well. And, I saw, I think it was Kyle Meinke of MLive had his post game 2 of the exhibition season depth chart or roster, 53-man roster. And he listed only 4 receivers. He thinks they're going to keep 4 receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And the 4th that they would keep would be Donovan Peoples-Jones. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if you're going to keep DPJ at this point, is it solely on size? Because he hasn't done a whole lot in the 2 games he's played, and given it's somewhat limited action, but he hasn't stood out. So if you're going to tell me you're going to keep DPJ over Isaiah Williams, either tells me you're only doing it you have to only be doing that for size, because it's not based on production of what we've seen.
It could have a lot to do with practice, right? I mean, it could have a lot to do with what we don't see.
Yes.
And we're going to be at practice this week.
Yeah.
Given we'll be on the air, and we won't be like charting every snap to see who stands out in practice. We'll be watching as much as we can. And there might be a little bit, he's a veteran. He'll play a different role. I mean, one of the problems Isaiah Williams has is he's a natural slot receiver.
Correct. And you've got Amon-Ra and Khalif Raymond.
Yep.
And Isaiah Williams is helping himself with the return game, although he did drop a return. But he also had 2 punt returns for 19 and 20 yards. Mm-hmm. And the 20-yarder was the one at the end of the game, which basically got him into field goal range.
Yep.
And then they had a couple plays after that. But with Brandon Joseph, Mikey had listed his defensive backs. I think there were 10 defensive backs total that he had on the roster. And I was going in my head before I saw the list. I'm like, okay, this guy. And it came up, and I had 10, and Joseph was going to be my 10th. He had the same 9 that I would have had, but his 10th was C.J. Moore instead. Mm-hmm. Now, C.J. Moore has been on this team for a couple of years, and he's really good at special teams, and I imagine that might give him the edge. So this might be a really important week for Brandon Joseph. I feel like keeping 4 receivers, and we brought this up last week, I don't think 4 is going to be the number. I think they have to keep 5, and I think Vaki on this team gives them some flexibility because he's so good at special teams, and he's going to be a running back guy as well. And, he does have that defensive background that it's almost like don't tell anybody. He was a safety.
Right.
And I wonder if that gives a little bit more flexibility on this team of what they're going to do roster-wise to open up that 5th spot to keep 5 receivers on the team.
I think they keep 4 receivers from this current roster and get their 5th receiver outside the building. So I think they end up ultimately having 5 receivers on the team, Gator. I'm just not sure that 5th receiver we've seen play in a Lions uniform this year.
248-539-9797 to your phone calls. DJ's in Detroit, and he's on 97.1 The Ticket. What's up, DJ?
Happy Monday. Welcome back, my man.
Thank you.
How you
Thank
doing?
you very much. I'm doing good. Refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah, I am too, man. So first and foremost, I don't ever have to see Nate Dogg Suffield ever again. I'm good. I've seen enough. I'm straight. I think that you just made a valid point, and I agree with you 1,000%. The fact that Hendon Hooker is now practicing, he's getting reps. He's doing what you want to see. He's getting better, man. So I'm fine with him as a backup. Besides that one early rollout, he seems to throw a nice ball. It's pretty accurate. I'm good with him. Number 2, the Vaki kid is going to help us because, as we know, running backs in the NFL get dinged up, get banged up. I feel comfortable with him stepping in here and there, catching the ball. You get what I'm saying? Like I can see. I don't think he's a every down guy, but I can see how he's going to help us. And then lastly, guys, 2 more things. Williams should make this team. I definitely hope he makes this team because he can catch the ball. Like, as long as you can catch the ball, I'm good with you and get open. Lastly, you know how I am about my offensive lineman. I've been watching them, a new kid, guys. He got better last week.
He did get better.
I don't think he's I'm sticking with this one. I don't think he's a tackle because his lateral movement doesn't seem that great. But I watched it because I ain't had nothing to do this weekend. In the run game, he's dominant against those second and third team, and he's getting better in pass pro. He's going to help us going forward, too, in about a year. I can see it.
The Manu thing, he definitely looked better in game 2.
Mm-hmm.
The depth that this team appears to have now is making me more comfortable. I've had some guys banged up, but it doesn't sound like at this point that of the starters, people should be ready to go by the regular season. Cut day is a week from tomorrow. Cut day is a week from tomorrow. And there are going to be names on that list that people are going to go, ooh.
It's a question I would love to ask Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes too. If you could change the roster number, what number would you make it? Because I feel like there's maybe, I don't know if it's a full handful, but might be 3 or 4 guys that are going to be really difficult decisions for this team to leave off the roster, and a couple of them might be offensive linemen. I mean, you use a draft resource to draft Giovanni Manu, and good, because I like what I've seen as well, and Sorsdahl and Mahogany. But other guys have played really well in the interim as well. And then you go out and you bring up a Jamarco Jones, and he grades out very well according to Pro Football Focus. He was one of the top offensive players they had out there. And take that for whatever it's worth, but he's another guy who's an offensive lineman, a veteran offensive lineman who's got something there, who's not likely to make this roster. And I don't know if you can sneak him on the practice squad or not. I doubt it. He'll probably be gone to another team. It's guys that are going to be. I feel like teams in the NFL are looking to see what the Lions are going to do because they know the Lions have put together a really good roster over the years. And now it's just a matter of, hey, sorry, man, the bar's full. We can't let anybody in. You're on the outside.